The winking skeever was warm, busy and loud in that distinct way only a Nord establishment manages to be. I pushed through the throng of regulars nursing their mead, wincing slightly as a terrible bard in the corner did his absolute best to butcher the age of aggression. The firelight caught on heavy wooden beams and tired faces as I made my way to the bar. I'm not a Nord. I wasn't dressed like anyone in Solitude either. I carried my loot across my back with the ease of someone who's hauled it across more miles than this city has roads. I found an empty stool, ordered something strong, and began to tune. I'm Valerie, a traveling bard, nothing more. I began to play. The melody I let fill the skeever had no business existing in Skyrim. It didn't follow Nordic tradition, nor did it borrow from any elvish or imperial musical structure. It was something older, stranger, and more complex. A composition with an emotional architecture that made the entire room go slightly quieter without anyone quite knowing why. The regulars felt it. They couldn't place it. They just knew something in the air had changed. Sitting nearby, a woman with striking silver hair watched me. Her outfit read as exotic rather than practical, and the quality of her attention was entirely different from the drunken patrons. Her skin caught the firelight wrong. Too smooth, too precise. Faint markings traced her arms in patterns that could have been tattoos, but they seemed somehow structural. A massive greatsword rested against the wall behind her. She didn't just hear the music. She examined it, processed it. I could tell that whatever she was finding didn't fit into any category she had for this world. I let the melody end. Silence held for half a breath before the tavern noise rushed back in to fill the void.
"I'm sorry to intrude on your playing," the silver-haired woman said. "It's so beautiful. May I ask what the song is that you're playing? It is enchanting."
The compliment was delivered carefully, almost rehearsed. It sounded like someone who understood the concept of flattery but was only half certain she was executing it correctly. And yet, half of it felt entirely genuine. I smiled, setting my instrument down. "Thank you. It's an old song from home. I doubt you'd know the place."
"That isn't from here."
It wasn't a question. It was a statement delivered with quiet certainty. I paused, studying her for the first time with real attention. "No, it isn't." I picked up my drink, took a slow sip, and set it down. "Valerie, traveling bard, currently between destinations."
"Ash," she replied. "I offer my services as a guardian and traveling companion. Should you require protection on the roads?"
I glanced at the massive greatsword behind her, then back to her face. 200 gold is what I heard at the bar. That's remarkably affordable.
"I find that competitive pricing encourages long-term partnerships."
I almost laughed. Almost. Instead, I took another drink and studied her. The outfit that defied local tailoring, the structural markings on her skin, a weapon that cost more than most mercenaries earned in a year. I filed it all away under interesting. "I have no particular destination," I told her. "No contracts, no enemies currently in active pursuit." I paused. "That last part may change." I picked up my loot, turning it idly in my hands. "I came to Skyrim to see it. Walk the roads, play in taverns, avoid anything that requires a formal plan." I glanced sideways at her. "So, light work, mostly roads, occasional taverns, potentially some light trespassing if something interesting presents itself. Does that satisfy your operational requirements?" I delivered those last two words precisely. I wanted her to know I noticed exactly how she spoke.
"Affirmative," Ash said. "I can see you certainly know how to handle yourself. Good. That makes my job easier if you can handle yourself out on the roads."
I went very still for just a fraction of a second. Affirmative. Not yes. Not great. Affirmative. Filed away. "I manage," I said softly. I gave it a beat. "You've been watching the doors since I sat down. You clocked the drunk in the corner as a non-threat before he finished standing up, and you positioned yourself with sightlines to both exits before I even noticed you." I tilted my head. "I think we have compatible definitions of handling ourselves." Ash tilted her head in a mirror of my own movement, a gesture of approval.
"Very observant of you. That's good. Good situational awareness will increase survival odds out in the wild." Yes, let's begin our travels. Compatible thinking is a preferable partnership.
I finished the drink in one unhurried swallow, setting the cup down with a small, decisive click. I tucked the lute across my back. Compatible thinking, I repeated, trying the phrase out. A small smile formed. All right, Ash. You've got yourself a client. The next morning, Solitude was grey, cold, and beautiful in the way that imperial cities always are. It was architecture built for power, streets built for commerce, and people built for endurance. We walked through the market district, citizens moving through their routines carrying the heavy atmosphere of a city that had recently watched a man executed for opening a gate. I was taking in the sights with the unhurried pleasure of someone genuinely on holiday. Ash walked beside me with the measured alertness of someone who is never off duty. A courier came sprinting around a corner, nearly colliding with a market stall. He spotted me and made a direct line with the desperation of someone who had been searching for hours.
You're the one they're talking about, the Dragonborn.
He shoved a sealed letter into my hands before I could even open my mouth.
I have a summons for you. From the Steward of Solitude. You are to report to the Blue Palace at your earliest convenience, which means now. He was very insistent.
He sprinted off to whatever fresh delivery hell awaited him. I stared down at the letter. Wonderful. Can't a woman take just one day off from things getting serious? Just once? I felt Ash observing my reaction. She was clocking the speed of it, the weariness behind it. There was no confusion on my face, only recognition. It was the exhaustion of someone who had been drafted by authorities under false pretenses far too many times before. She said nothing. I turned the letter over in my hands. Right. Blue Palace. Because my morning was going far too smoothly.
Shall we respond to the summons? Ash asked.
I sigh. Yes. Let's see what this is about before it becomes something worse. The Blue Palace was exactly what a seat of imperial power should be. Grand, cold, and perfectly designed to make visitors feel exceptionally small. Guards lined the halls with the rigid posture of men who took their positions seriously and their visitors not at all. They were thoroughly unpleasant as we passed through, exactly as tradition demanded. We found the steward Falk Firebeard waiting near the throne area. He looked exactly like a man carrying the administrative weight of a city at war, a recent execution, and a grieving Jarl. He didn't have time for this, but he was making time anyway. He looked me up and down.
You are the Dragonborn? You are smaller than I expected.
Sure, I said without hesitation. Why not? What's this about anyway? I caught Ash's eyes flickering toward me. I knew what she saw. I had offered no denial, no stammering protest about a mistake. I just slipped the identity on like an old coat. Quick, practiced, effortless. Another entry for her file.
There are strange rumors of disappearances happening across the city, Falk said, his tone grim. Superstition, I would have called it. But the captain of the guard assures me I should take this more seriously. I need someone of your talents to look into the matter. Please, speak to Captain Aldous as soon as possible so he can fill you in. You will be rewarded for your troubles.
Before I do this, I said, leaning in slightly, can you at least elaborate on these disappearances? Because honestly, I just wanted a holiday in solitude. Falk narrowed his eyes in stark disapproval.
They say strange whispers have been coming from the crypts, that not just people, but even the dead have been going missing. I will say no more. Please, speak to the captain of the guard.
I stared at him for a long moment. Fine. Very well. I'll look into this. We found Captain Aldous in the Castle Dar courtyard, reviewing patrol assignments. The man possessed the focused intensity of someone running a skeleton crew during wartime. He was professional, competent, visibly stretched thin, and evidently not entirely convinced I was what the steward claimed. He looked at my loot, my traveling clothes. Ash, with her silver hair and oversized sword. None of it screamed Dragonborn, but Rogfur's body was barely cold. Asking someone to prove they had the voice in solitude right now would be political suicide. He couldn't verify me, but he couldn't afford to turn me away either.
So, the steward tells me you're the Dragonborn, Aldous said.
That's what I'm told. He studied me. Not convinced, not dismissive, just deeply tired.
I'll be honest with you. I haven't had time to investigate this, personally. The war, the execution. Every patrol stretched thin across the hold. What I have are whispers from my soldiers, complaints from the townspeople, and now the steward breathing down my neck to do something about it.
He paused, lowering his voice.
People are disappearing, not soldiers, not political targets, ordinary citizens. And the reports don't add up. No bodies, no signs of struggle. They're simply gone.
And the crypts? I asked.
That's where I'd start. There's a woman who maintains the Hall of the Dead, prepares the bodies. If anyone would notice the dead going missing, it would be her. Something shifted in his expression. A deep frustration. She denies everything. Despite what my men have observed. Despite what the townspeople are saying. She insists nothing is wrong.
You don't believe her?
I don't have time to believe or disbelieve anyone, I'll discount it. I'm asking you to find out which one it is. Speak to her. Search the crypts if you have to, and report back to me with something I can actually act on.
The crypt beneath Solitude smelled of embalming oils, cold stone, and old death. We found the crypt keeper working at a stone table in the dim light. She was hunched over a body, cleaning it with the meticulous, obsessive devotion of a mother bathing a child. She didn't even look up when we entered.
Visitors to my hall? How wonderful, she chirped, scrubbing away. Come in, come in. Mind the tables, don't touch anything. My darlings need their rest.
I exchanged a glance with Ash. We're here about the disappearances. The captain of the guard sent us to...
Disappearances? Disappearances, she says? The woman finally spun around, eyes wide and manic. Nobody is disappearing. Everyone is right where I put them. Clean, tended, resting. Do you know how long it takes to properly prepare a body? Every spot washed, every speck cleaned. Not a trace of a germ to be found. These are my charges, and I take my responsibilities very seriously.
There are reports that bodies have gone miss.
Draugr, she shrieked. They'll tell you about Draugr next. A bunch of hooey. Complete and utter nonsense. The dead stay dead. That is the natural order of things. I put them to rest and they stay resting. Anyone who tells you otherwise has been drinking too much mead and reading too many fairy tales.
I tried a different approach, then another, then a third. Each attempt hit a brick wall, absolute conviction delivered at high volume, punctuated by her loving attention to the corpse on her table. But the room itself contradicted her. Empty alcoves that should have been occupied, arrangements that didn't match the system she kept raving about. She either couldn't or wouldn't see it. I turned to Ash. I wasn't even frustrated anymore. I felt a kind of reluctant respect. Being that thoroughly immune to interrogation was practically a superpower. We're not getting anywhere with her, I murmured to Ash. Let's look around ourselves. We pushed deeper into the crypt, leaving the crypt keeper to her ramblings and her darlings. The tone shifted the deeper we went. The comedy of the crypt keeper faded as the corridors narrowed. The cold bit harder into my skin. The silence took on a physical weight. We both noticed the details at the same time. Dust patterns on the floor suggesting something heavy was moved recently, but not by human hands. Drag marks with the wrong weight distribution, empty spaces where the stonework cried out that something should be resting there. Then, the light flickered a sickly green organic hue like mist. We rounded a corner. A glowing circle. A star was etched into the stone floor. Candles had been arranged with deliberate, obsessive precision at each point. Standing in the center with his arms raised, a man was locked in a rhythmic chant that echoed off the walls with a sickly green resonance. A necromancer. All around him, the dead were responding. Draugr pulled themselves from alcoves with the grinding protest of ancient joints. Skeletons assembled from scattered remains, their bones clicking into place like puzzle pieces finding their partners. I assessed the room in 2 seconds flat. Ash had already drawn her greatsword. So much for a quiet investigation, I muttered. The fight broke out instantly. Ash moved like the weapon was made for her. or like she was made for it. She brought the greatsword around in massive two-handed arcs, catching Droga center mass and sending them scattering. The enchantment on the blade flared, fire erupted along the edge, setting ancient corpses ablaze as they shattered under the sheer kinetic impact. She didn't fight with elegance. She fought with ruthless efficiency. Every swing was calculated to cover maximum area, protect her flank, and create breathing room. Skeletons rushed from the sides. Ash caught one mid-charge with a lateral swing that reduced it to airborne fragments, pivoted perfectly, and brought the blade down on a second. The fire enchantment did the rest. I moved directly toward the necromancer. He saw me coming and raised his hands. Magic began to build in his palms, the sickly green glow of conjuration trying to pull more dead from the walls. I reached behind my back and drew a weapon that had absolutely no business existing in Skyrim. A 6-shot hand cannon. Dark metal, compact, engraved with markings no one in Tamriel would ever recognize. It was loaded with blessed rounds that glowed faintly in the crypt's suffocating gloom. I fired twice. Both shots hit his hands with surgical precision. The conjuration magic died instantly. You can't channel magicka through shattered fingers. He screamed and collapsed. The remaining Draga crumpled to the stone as the spell maintaining them was severed at the source. Silence snapped back into the crypt. Smoke and dust drifted through the candlelight. Ash raised her greatsword for a finishing blow. Wait, don't kill him! Ash halted the swing with inhuman precision. The blade stopped just close enough to rest gently against the necromancer's throat. She held the position without a single tremble, without effort. I crouched in front of the bleeding man, my hand cannon still leveled. You have 3 seconds to answer my questions, or the next thing I blast off you is your nuts. Do you understand me? You ruined a perfectly good holiday and I am not in the mood. The interrogation did not go how I expected. He wasn't a dark wizard serving some ancient evil. He wasn't a servant of Molag Bal, or a Daedric cultist, or some political operative. Against all reasonable expectation, he was just a man in love.
I wasn't hurting anyone!
He sobbed through the pain of his ruined hands.
They were already dead! She asked me to take care of them. Our children! She tends them upstairs and I give them new life down here. It's beautiful! It's natural!
I stared at him, my brain briefly refusing to process the words. You and the Crypt Keeper, you're together.
She's the most wonderful woman in all of Skyrim. She understands the dead like no one else, and I can give them purpose again. We're a family.
I stood up slowly. I looked at Ash. I looked back at the sobbing necromancer. I stood there and fully processed the fact that Solitude's crypt crisis was a love story between 2 certifiably insane people raising reanimated corpses as their children. Oh, you have got to be kidding me. I grabbed some rope and bound his hands behind his back with practiced efficiency. Ash, if you would, make sure he doesn't wake up anytime soon.
Affirmative.
She said cheerfully. She reversed her grip and struck him across the temple with the heavy pommel of her greatsword. He dropped clean. We dragged the unconscious necromancer between us all the way out of the crypt, right past the crypt keeper, who was still lovingly washing a dead man's arm and humming a lullaby. Captain Aldis looked at the bleeding, unconscious man on his office floor. Then he looked at me, then back at the man. Good news and bad news, I told him. Good news? Your crypt has a necromancer problem. Had. Past tense. He was raising the dead in the basement. Also, he and your crypt keeper are apparently in a romantic relationship. They've been raising the reanimated corpses as, and I'm quoting directly here, their children. Aldous just stared. Bad news. The disappearances aren't connected, I continued. He wasn't taking living people. He was playing house with the dead she was preparing. Whatever is actually causing people to vanish in Solitude is still out there, and we're back to nothing. Aldous sat down slowly at his desk. Not because he wanted to, but because his legs clearly needed him to.
The steward entrusted me with payment for the completion of this task, he said after a long, heavy silence. What you found down there more than warrants the original amount.
He handed me a coin purse. It was heavier than I expected.
I'll deal with these 2, Aldous said, rubbing his temples. But the other matter, the disappearances, remains. I may call on you again, Dragonborn.
The title hung in the air between us. I didn't correct him. You know where to find me. By the time we got back to the Winking Skeever, the tavern had quieted down. Most of the regulars had stumbled home or gone to sleep. Ash and I sat in our rented room, modest, warm, and private. Thick stone walls muffled the sounds of the city outside. The weight of the day sat between us. Everything we had seen, everything we had done, everything we had inadvertently shown each other in the heat of combat. A long, comfortable silence stretched out. Neither of us rushed to fill it. Finally, Ash spoke.
That weapon you used, it's extraordinary.
A pause.
May I look at it?
I hesitated. I read her face, searching for an ulterior motive, but found nothing but genuine curiosity and something that looked a lot like respect. Sure, I said softly, reaching for the hand cannon. Just be careful with it, please. Ash took the weapon with both hands. She held it with the reverence of someone who understood craftsmanship on a fundamental level. She turned it slowly in the lamplight, studying the engravings, testing the weight. She ran a thumb along the cold barrel with the precise, calculating attention of someone comparing it against a vast internal database.
This isn't like any Dwemer construct I have ever learned about, she murmured. It is extraordinary, but it must be private. She handed it back with utmost care. I'm sorry, I won't pry.
The words hung in the air. Dwemer construct I have ever learned about. Not I've never seen anything like it. Not what enchantment is this. She used Dwemer engineering as her baseline frame of reference. It was the casual fluency of someone referencing something intimate, not academic. I took the weapon back, and our eyes met. In that split second, we both realized she had just revealed something she hadn't intended to. I chose warmth over interrogation. It is, I said softly, letting a smile reach my eyes. But tonight, I fought with someone much more extraordinary than what I carry. Thank you for keeping this to yourself, Ash. I'm really glad we met. Have a good rest. My smile widened, softened. Ash looked at me, and something shifted behind her eyes. It wasn't calculation. It wasn't analysis. It was something entirely real. Something that the glowing core beneath her skin resonated with in a way I don't think she fully understood yet. She smiled back. It wasn't a performed gesture. It wasn't mimicked. It was real.
Good night, Valerie.
Darkness, then heat, then light.
Wrong light. Orange. Flickering. Alive. I stood in a workshop I had never seen before. The architecture was unmistakable. Dwemer, but not the cold, dead ruins I was used to exploring. This place had been alive recently. The tools were still warm. The work tables still held heavy metal projects mid-completion, and everything was on fire. Thick smoke filled the space. Massive metal structures groaned, warping in the intense heat. Somewhere through the deafening roar of the flames, I heard a voice. Desperate, broken, failing.
Ash?
I moved through the fire without thinking. An instinct older than this world pulled me toward the sound. I rounded a heavy workbench, a table where something incredibly important had been built. I could feel the residual hum of creation still clinging to the stone. That was where I found him. A man lay on the floor, bleeding from wounds that no amount of healing magic would ever close. The fire was closing in around us. His hands, brilliant, scarred builder's hands, clutched the edge of the table as though it was the last solid thing in the universe. He looked up, but he didn't see me. He saw his daughter.
Ash, he gasped, reaching out into the smoke. You are my love. Remember.
His hand fell.
Remember.
The fire surged, taking the workshop. The dream took me with it. I woke up in the Winking Skeever, gasping for air. Both of my hearts were pounding furiously against my ribs. I looked across the room. In the other bed, Ash slept. Still. Quiet. The faint pulse of the soul gem beneath her skin cast the smallest, softest light into the darkness. I stared at my companion for a very long time. I didn't go back to sleep. End of chapter 1. Thank you for joining us, and please remember to hit like, subscribe, and comment below on your favorite parts. Love to all.